Hiya, year 10. Sorry I'm a bit late posting this lesson, but I'm here now, so let's crack on with it. So last lesson was transformation of functions. I'm following the list that I gave you a while ago, topics from the topic sheet for the GCSE Maths that I wanted to go over with you. Most of it we've done before, but I just wanted to review it. Sorry, I'm scrabbling around here trying to find the piece of paper. I have a piece of paper that will show you what we're working through. And it's this. So I don't think that's come out very well. You probably can't see that very well, but we're working through the stuff in the green. So the last thing there was transformation of functions. So we're now on to factorise quadratics. It's basically these three green ones here I'm trying to cover today, and maybe tomorrow, depending on how things go. These are the Hegarty tests. I'm not using Hegarty for this though. I've got a worksheet for you attached to the lesson. So I'm going to run through 4 examples that should allow you to do the worksheet that I have set for you on the lesson. So the first example is they're all solving equations. So the first one is this: 5x squared equals 15x. Like that. I'm going to solve that equation. Okay, first things first. If you get an equation that's got a common factor in all the terms, in other words, the same thing appears in all terms, numbers now, not letters, then you can divide through by that number. So first thing I'm going to do is divide through by 5. And that will give me x squared equals 3x, like that. Okay, so you can divide through by a common factor, no problem at all. It's just dividing everything by 5 on both sides. Now, the big mistake people make now is to think that the next step is to divide by x. Because if you divide by x, it will just end up being x on this side and 3 on this side, and you're finished. X equals 3. And it's not wrong, but it's not the correct way to actually do this. The correct way to do this is to actually take away 3x from both sides so that the right hand side has nothing left on it, like so. X squared equals minus 3x equals 0. Then what you do is you factorise this. So it's a single bracket factorisation. So there is a common factor between the terms, the x. So you take the x out front and then write x minus 3 in a bracket like that. Okay. So now you've got two things multiplied together that equal 0 overall. Well, the only way that can happen is if either of the two things that are multiplied together have a value of 0. Because 0 times something is 0 and something times 0 is 0. So either that is equal to 0 or all of that is equal to 0. The only way that can happen is if x is 0 itself, that would make that bit 0, or x is equal to 3, the opposite of the sign there, because then that bracket would be 0. So the two answers to this question are x equals 0 or x equals 3. Let's do another one. So the second one we're going to do is, it already says equals 0 on the right, so we don't have to worry about that. That's all ready to go. X squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So this is just review. You should remember how to do this. This is factorising. Factorising a quadratic. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 12 and add to make 7. You can do a little diagram over here if it helps. Let's think through factor pairs of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, until you get the one that makes 7. And obviously it's 3 and 4. And once you know what those two numbers are there, you can put a pair of brackets in like so, with those two numbers in the brackets like that. Okay, this is something we've done for a couple of years now, and you should know how to do it. So x can now either be minus 3, which would make that bracket equal to 0, or x could be minus 4, which would make that bracket equal to 0. Okay, on to the next one. 9x squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay, now this one is an example of what we call the difference of two squares. It's where this is a square number and this is a square number, and there's a minus sign, hence difference between them. When you get that situation, you can go straight to your double bracket like that, and in here you put the square roots of these two terms with a plus sign for one of the brackets and a minus sign for the other. If you work this out, it is correct. So the square root of that would be 3x. So we put a 3x and a 3x there, and the square root of that would be 4. So we put a 4 and a 4 there like that. If you were to box method that back, you would get back to there. What happens is the two middle terms, the 12x here cancels with the minus 12x here, just to leave 9x squared here and minus 16 here. Anyway, once you've got that into a bracket like that, you can then immediately go to the answers. So x would have to be that with a minus sign divided by the number in front of the x like that. We've done this before. So x is equal to minus 4 over 3, or from the other bracket, x is equal to plus 4 over 3 like that. And those would be the two solutions for that one. Finally, hopefully I've just got enough space here to do this. We've got this one here to do. So I'm just pausing the video mode. I'm back. That was me just getting my printer going so I can show you the worksheet. So this one here, now this one is the one for which we need to use our box method. Okay, I'll go through this again slowly. The first thing you do is you times the number at the start in front of the x squared by the number on the end. So 2 times minus 12 to give you minus 24. Now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make minus 24 and add to make minus 5. Okay, well, if they're going to multiply to make a minus number, one of them needs to be a plus and one of them needs to be a minus, and when you add them, you get minus 5. If you just write out the factor pairs of 24, which are these things here, you're looking for the one which are kind of 5 apart, because one's going to have a plus sign and one's going to have a minus sign. They're going to be kind of 5 away from each other. Oh, it's the 3 and the 8. So I know it's an 8 and a 3. And one of them will have to have a minus sign on it, so that when you add them you get minus 5. Little thought about that. I want the minus sign there. Minus 8 add 3 is minus 5. Now, see if you remember this. You draw a box like this. Go just slowly, we've done this before. You put the 2x squared in that box there, and you put the minus 12 in that box there like that. Then the other two boxes contain, for this one, minus 8x, and for this 3 here, 3x like that. And what you've done here basically is written that out again, but you've split the middle term, the minus 5x, into two separate terms like that. Then to find the brackets, what you do is you try and work out what needs to go here first of all. And to find that out, you look for the common factor in here, which is 2. And then if there's a common x term as well, and there is, it's just x. They've both got a 2 in them and they've both got an x in them. Once you've got that one written there, you work round the edge, filling in the other ones, okay, because you don't really have any choice over what they are. This one has to be an x, because x times 2x is 2x squared. And this one has to be a 3, because 3 times x is 3x. This one here will need to be minus 4, and that would work for that box, and it would also work for that box there. That allows me now to write out the two brackets, 2x plus 3 and x minus 4 equals 0, like so. And I can immediately write the answers. For this bracket here, it would be minus 3 over 2, and for this bracket here, it would be 4. I'm just getting up to go over to my printer. And I am returning now with today's work, which is this. I'd like you to try and answer these questions here. This may run on into tomorrow. You may not get it all done today. We'll see how time goes. But you can definitely start this today, and I'll probably set it again tomorrow for you to finish off or something. I'm not sure yet. So these are the questions. Okay, look at my examples and make sure that you understand them before you attempt these questions. You can always message me if you don't understand any of my examples, and I will try and give you some extra help. If you look at question 1, they all say equals 0 to start with. So you don't need to do any rearranging with those ones. You're ready to go. Don't forget to divide through by a number if there's a number in common. Like for example, the first one here, your first step is to start by dividing through by 2 because 2 goes into both of them. Okay, and then go from there. Question 2, you'll need to rearrange them first. They must say equals 0 before you attempt to do any factorising. Okay. That's a very, very simple process. You know how to rearrange equations, how to make the right hand side say equals 0. On the last 2, you'll also have to, e as well, you'll need to multiply out the brackets first as well before you do any of that work. There's loads for you to be getting on with there. Don't feel you've got to do it all today. Just get as far as you can, and then we'll see where people are, and maybe I'll set this again for tomorrow's lesson as well. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a good day.